Hey Spartans, Halo 5 has been out a couple days now, and after playing my fair share of matches, climbing the ranking system, and having some really good games, I wanted to bring you my very early impressions of the 4v4 competitive multiplayer arena modes. The gunplay in Halo 5 is some of the best that I've seen in any first-person shooter. Halo 2 and 3's gunplay was excellent, but I feel that Halo 5 has taken that to a new height, and there's a few reasons for this. For one, the sandbox has included a massive variety of weapons on each map. No longer is there a weapon pickup that you should simply gloss over. Every weapon is worth picking up in and itself in certain situations. Old fan favorites like the Needler and the Covenant Carbine and the new plasma rifle called the Storm Rifle are all very useful in certain situations. They are no longer outclassed by the BR or even the DMR or the assault rifle or the pistol, such as starting weapons. There are weapons that are obviously the power weapons that are very important to control and pick up, such as the rocket launcher, sniper rifle, railgun, that are usually one-hit kills in a skilled hand. But these other second-tier weapons are also very competitive in their own nature. Even newcomers such as the plasma caster and the Hydra rocket launcher can be used effectively in certain situations. And this brings an entirely new feel to the arena maps and the arena sandbox. I often find myself going to hunt out a second tier weapon if power weapons aren't available. And this brings an entire new variety and, like I said, gunplay to the series that I felt has been lacking in the past, to which you would just grab your utility weapon, and if it wasn't a power weapon like the sword or the sniper rifle, then there really wasn't a use in picking it up and trying to give it a shot in getting kills in a match. That does breathe the fresh air into the series, and another aspect of the gameplay that is a breath of fresh air is the lower aim assist. And this is very noticeable, especially when using the pistol. The pistol has a very low aim assist, and it really takes a skilled hand and minor adjustments to win a firefight. And when that happens, it is so satisfying. Hitting that 5-shot with a pistol and getting a perfect kill in an intense strafe battle is one of the most satisfying feelings I've had in a first-person shooter in many, many years. And to that point, the starting weapons I know have been a bit controversial. If you aren't aware, we do start with an AR and a pistol as of now in the arena modes. And that's a very drastic step away from the battle rifle starts we've seen of Halo 2 and 3 in competitive terms. But I feel it's a nice, refreshing starting set that the other Halo games hasn't given us. The pistol is not as powerful as the secondary weapons that you would pick up, such as the BR or the DMR, as it has a lower aim assist value and a 5-shot kill instead of the BR 4-shot. But it still has a chance against all the other weapons. It has a good range, it has a good rate of fire, and has a good damage, and that really speaks to it as being an overall utility weapon. I also feel that the gunplay in Halo 5 can be focused on more intimate one-on-one battles. And as I said, it's very satisfying to win those one-on-one battles and then thrust away and regen your shield. And that brings me to the next point that I'm really enjoying of Halo 5, and that is the movement. Now, there has been a hubbub of sprint and thruster pack and ground pound and whatnot, but they're here, and I think they're a good inclusion to the game. They push Halo 5 forward in a good direction, I feel, toward the modern terms of FPS and what people are used to. And if you know, I'm not going to discuss all the Spartan abilities, but I think thruster pack and clamber are two of the most useful in real-time situations. Now, thruster pack can do all sorts of positives for you. You can thrust away from grenades, you can thrust to ledges that you can clamber up onto. You can also thrust in a one-on-one situation in which you're down a shot to throw off an opponent's aim. I've come back in situations where I've been down a shot in one-on-one battles many times just because of the thruster pack. And when you combine these movements together, you reach to a whole new level of immersion that I didn't really think was possible. One of my main gripes was that we were going to be losing crouch jump in a sense, but the clamber is very good in traversing maps. There is a point on Orion which has a damage boost on a very high platform that you must thrust and clamber to get to, and that is something that it really brings me into the immersion of being a Spartan. Just the feel of thrusting and being a super soldier feels great. I haven't really found that much use for a ground pound in an arena situation. If you can rain it down on someone's head when they're not expecting, it's an easy kill or an easy shield pop for a cleanup, but I use it more as a movement option. And in terms of negative movements, the only movement option that I wish weren't there would be sprint, but I'm not hating on sprint. I think the sprint is very well done in Halo 5 to the point that you have to slow down to have your shield recharge. And I often find myself barely sprinting at all in maps. I think the maps are smaller enough that you don't have to sprint all the time, and I will discuss that momentarily. But I find myself playing Halo 5 at a normal walk speed with my weapon ready because the engagements happen so fast and furious that if you're sprinting and your weapon is not ready to shoot, you're at an immediate disadvantage. I do think it forces players to slow down, and players that do sprint constantly that are used to that type of gameplay, I have found are easier kills, so that's something to keep in mind. And the faster move speed and the base movement speed also feels great in the strafe battles, and it helps you traverse the map a little easier compared to people that are sprinting. There have been times that people have sprinted away from me, and I have had to sprint after them momentarily, but then cut them off on a different route with a well-timed thrust and easily cleaned up the kill. I haven't had an issue with many people running away from engagements, and I find that very satisfying. Also, in terms of movement, position plays a very important role in this game. As in the other games, we have power positions, and one that comes to mind is the snipe ledge on Coliseum. And you can clamber to that ledge, you can go up a grab, lift, and ground pound to it. There are many ways to access that ledge, and I think that's great in terms of flanking, but you also have to hold that power position, so it's not just entirely run and gun. That was one concern I had with the multiplayer, was that it was going to primarily be run and gun flank all the time. But I've had greater success finding a power position and holding it down, a la previous classic Halo, than run and gun styles. Now, to talk about the maps momentarily, we launched with a few maps, a couple that are remixes of others, and I think the cream of the crop in terms of the maps is Coliseum. It's a symmetrical map with 2 power weapons. You can play Slayer, capture the flag, and it is a very balanced map, and it harkens back to the old days of Halo positional power and symmetrical maps. The other maps, I feel Fathom is also good, Truth is good, Empire is good. Not really sold on the Rig or the Plaza yet. They're definitely unique, but I'm not exactly sure how they're going to play into the competitive future in the long run. The map's design, I think, is good, but overall, a few maps seem a little bland, such as Plaza and the Rig. I think Truth, the maps I think have a better skybox and view and art design are the ones that I actually think play well in competitive play. It does feel that Halo 5 is lacking that one map, though, such as Guardian or Lockout that we had. However, it took time for those maps to develop to come to the forefront, so I still have hope that Coliseum might be that map, and we might get to see some more DLC in the future. As far as design goes, they're smaller enough to where you have more intimate engagements and you don't have to run and gun and find someone and actively hunt out a Spartan to engage with. I think this brings the combat to a more fast-paced competitive scale, which I like. Just to touch on ranks quickly, you play your 10 placement matches and you get put into a rank, and it's fairly easy to rank up or down from there. So I'm not sure exactly how the ranking system is working now, and I know people are complaining about it being matched up with players still in their placement games, but to that I say, let's give it a few days. The game is new. Let's give it a couple weeks before everyone finds their ranking placement and sticks there. We're going to have some inconsistencies in that right off the bat. Now, this isn't to say that everything in the Halo 5 is great. There are some side features that I'm not entirely happy with, for one being theater. And in this video, I use theater to record most of the clips, and it seems that the hitboxes and the reticle that you're actually shooting lags behind. I have the actual video, and some of these shots seem that they're not hitting, but they really are. And that speaks to the larger hitboxes and bullet magnetism. They increased the bullet magnetism and hitboxes slightly for this game, I think, and that's because of the faster movement speed to keep up. As we know, thumbsticks are highly inaccurate, and I don't really have a problem with that. I don't notice it in-game, and I'm not sure if this is a theater bug to where it lags behind slightly, but that's a nag to me in the theater mode. I'd also like to see us be able to save matches. Right now we can bookmark them, but it's not save them and share them. The other con I have is the limited maps and modes right now. I know these are going to be coming in DLC later, but missing at launch are Oddball, King of the Hill, a variety of maps, Big Team Battle, but those will be coming on, so I'm going to hold out to actually get an impression on that. But overall, to me, the impression of this Halo 5 early days is that it's extremely fun. I'm addicted to this game. I haven't been able to say that in a long time in terms of a first-person shooter, but I find myself daydreaming during other tasks about different strategies on different maps I can incorporate, or getting back into the game and practicing my 5 shots or 4 shots, and it's really exciting. It feels like Halo has finally come back to the forefront. And it's even better when you open up your browser and see a bunch of friends in your friends list playing. So guys, this has been my early impressions of Halo 5. There will be many more videos to come as the game evolves and the meta pushes forward. I'm sure there are things I've yet to discover as well as other people, and I will make videos on that. as it comes, guys. This has been Mamba. I hope you're enjoying Halo 5.